Welcome to Single and Saved TV, where it is always our mission to provide real, relevant, and responsible solutions. Let's welcome our host, Coach L. Renee Nick. Hello. Grace and peace to each of you all. Thank you. Welcome to Single and Save TV. I am your host. This is your girl, El Renee Nix. I am an author, I'm an educator, I am a mentor, I am a life coach, but more than anything, I am a believer. I specialize in helping Christian singles avoid time-wasting relationships. In 2018, I was afforded an opportunity to co-author a book called Delayed But Not Denied, where I talked about the absolute worst heartbreak I had ever experienced in my life. I was a church girl, a PK kid, had been in church my entire life, but that did not prevent me from going through heartbreak, and it did not necessarily mean that I knew how to be in a healthy relationship. And so in 2018, I started Single and Saving the Kingdom, the ministry, and I'm just so thrilled that this year, here in 2023, 5 years later, we are here on Rethink TV, where we are here to continue to provide the kinds of information that I know Christian singles are talking about, you're thinking about, you're praying about, you're asking God to say, hey, Lord, when and how do I do things, and how do I operate in a different way in relationships? Because let me go there. Just because you are a believer, just because you have been in church your entire life, does not always mean that you know how to be in healthy relationships. So I am so thankful you all joined us again. Again, this has been such a thrill. Thank you so much for the feedback that we continue to get week after week. Last week, the love letters with El Renee was amazing. Oh my God, I had so much feedback, so many comments about this particular young lady. And we talked about a viewer who wrote in to us, and she was like, listen, I'm an independent woman. I'm trying to do what I have to do. I'm dating this guy. And I was just so thankful that she was able to get the kind of feedback that she needed. She just was just really thankful that we were able to discuss her particular situation. And the thing is, guess what? There were so many other people that reached out to me to say, listen, El Renee, I'm going through the same thing. You know, I'm scared. I want to get back out there. I've met someone that I really like, but I just don't want to make a mistake. Well, guess what? Here in the Single and Saved TV community, this is what we're all about. We want to help you foster better relationships. So welcome again to Single and Saved TV. And tonight we are going to talk about Miss Independent Part 2. Yes, we're going to continue the conversation about independent women. Listen, we're not here to beat you up. We're not here to bash you. We're not here to tell you how horrible you are, but we are here to help you hopefully translate the amazing things that you're doing, the strategies, the technique, the creativity, the capacity that you have to succeed in the world, to succeed at home as a single parent, perhaps, to be the go-to girlfriend, to be the go-to family member, to be that strong person in your community, the leadership that you may hold at your church. Those same qualities are not always translated over into healthy relationships. Trust me, your girl El Renee, I was that independent woman. But it was when God began to take me on this particular journey that I began to see, you know what? There's so much more to being in love than just saying, I love you. And just finding someone who also says, I love you back. So tonight's show, once again, is dedicated to all my boss babes, all of you all that are out there, you entrepreneurs, you single moms, those of you all that are holding it down week after week. You are, you're making your own money. You're making decisions. You're traveling all over the world. You're doing amazing things in the world. This show is meant to uplift you. This show is meant to hopefully provoke change, but also to make you think a little bit, right? Independent women, women of purpose, are oftentimes very purposeful people. We don't have a lot of time to waste, right? We have all these things. We got our schedule, we got our list, we have our agendas and things that we must get done, right? But at the end of the day, I only came to remind you, Miss Independent, that you're still a woman. When you take off all the hats, when you take off all the titles, at the end of the day, you still deserve to be loved. You still deserve to be cherished. You still deserve to be doted on. You deserve to be spoiled and pampered, to be feminine and to enjoy femininity, right? I want to make sure, hear me, Rita, lean in a little bit. I am not talking about letting yourself become a doormat. I'm not saying, I'm here to dispel some of these myths that a lot of times independent women, let's be honest, have been raised to be independent. Let's go there. There's nothing wrong. And this is just a piggyback on last week when we talked about this in episode 4. Listen, there is an underground situation, I believe, that there's been a disparity between the way men are raised and women are raised. Y'all, come on now. If you're with me out there, raise your hand if you know. If you were raised to learn how to change your own tire, if you were responsible and you knew that you were going to get a job after high school, you knew that you had to find some type of income to help you make it through college. If you started working and you've been at your job and you've risen up the corporate ladder since you were right out of high school, if you are the CEO, if you are the president of your own company, if you are in leadership, if you are a pastor, if you are an evangelist, if you are something in leadership within your own body, your local assembly, all of these things tell me that most likely you have been raised. Most likely you've been raised or you have been around and have been trained to be an independent woman. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. Let me just go back and say that there is nothing wrong with being independent. What I think, though, is a lot of times is that we're going so far to the left, going so far to the right. What do you mean by that, El Renee? I mean that there has been, I think, a lot of times within relationships, I think that we have been lost in translation, right? We've been raised. If you grew up in a household where it was all females, most likely you are an independent woman. You were taught to be strong. You were taught to not be a doormat. You were taught to not let a man just do anything and say anything to you, and that you didn't have to put up with it. Come on, y'all. If it's you, raise your hand and let me know. Come on, post in the comments and let me know how you were raised, because that is so important. You must always know that God is, first of all, the word says, let a man examine himself. Let a man or a woman examine himself. So tonight we're going to begin to examine some of the things that independent women have been taught and that we are carrying out, but that they might not always serve the purpose that you wanted to serve within a relationship. All right. Again, last week we talked about this young lady who wrote this love letter into me about the fact that she was dating this man. And he wanted, everything he was doing sounded right. It wasn't that he was doing anything wrong, but she was still worried about her past. And that's normal. That's just something that we all go through. Love is a risk, right? Love is a gamble to a certain extent, because you cannot predict what the other person is going to say or do. But what I want to do is begin to, instead of always looking at what the other person is doing, here on Single and Saved, we want to make sure that you take the beam out your own eye and that you begin to examine yourself. Look at who you are and who you present in a relationship. This was my story. This was what God had to take me through. I had to begin to look at myself. My dating experiences as a single woman through my 20s and my 30s and my 40s, I had the same situations happen to me so many times. And what I understood was that sometimes I would hear men that would say, well, I'm intimidated by you. You seem like you got yourself together. You're independent. You don't need me. Oh, we're going to talk about it tonight. Oh, I used to hear that all the time, that you don't seem like you need me. And let's be honest, let's be transparent. There was a time that I would be so upset and I would get offended when a man said that. But here we go. When you don't know, you just don't know. This is what we want to begin to dissect in tonight, because there are a lot of things that we are moving through, all under the premise of being independent, that may or may not actually be true, may or may not actually serve the particular relationship that you're in. Now, the beauty of tonight, even though this is Single and Saved TV, the beauty of tonight, and I hope that you guys will be able to share this particular episode, because it's so important. It is never too late. If you're married, if you're in a relationship, if you're still desiring to be married, you're in a dating relationship, you're engaged, it is never too late for you to begin to identify some things and become aware of where you stand. We are so accustomed to looking at what other people are doing until where we almost forget about what about ourselves. Every relationship, when I look back on it, that ended in a way that just hurt me, it caused scars, it caused wounds. When I went back and really told myself the truth, there was a part that I played in, and if nothing else, but I allowed it. Oh, come on tonight. When you allow certain things, and sometimes we allow things because this is what we think, this is what we've been taught. And so tonight, I really, really want to encourage you so that you begin to understand, number one, God is a thinking God. And so therefore, even in our relationships, we must be thinkers. A lot of times I know for my own self, I'm still a hopeless romantic. I love all things love, everything about love I am just thrilled about, right? But at the end of the day, I was still allowing that girlish fantasy about love. I was allowing myself, even though I was independent, I was taking care of myself, I was educated, I had my own house, I was taking care of myself, wasn't depending on anyone, and God was giving me a lot of victories in my career and victories in my ministry and things of that nature. But guess what? I kept having a recurring theme when it came to dating. Can you relate to that? One of the things that he began to show me was that it was because sometimes I was going into relationships with my independent woman cape on. Oh, come on, El Renee. Yes, it was me. I had the cape on. And there were some times that I was entering into relationships, and even the fact that I was even attracted to certain people because I thought that my independence, come on here, I thought that I could rub off on someone who didn't seem to have those similar qualities. And I believed mistakenly that my brokenness, even though I was independent and successful, on paper and successful in the world, but there was still such a brokenness on the inside. There was still so much that I was suffering through silently. There were things that I just was not dealing with in my own life. Things like rejection, things like abandonment, things like neglect, things like trauma, right? Things like really, really high expectations, perfectionism, overthinking. Oh, come on, I can keep going. There were so many things that I was dealing with that I had never stopped to consider how that was going to impact me when it came to relationships, especially romantic ones, right? And so tonight, I just want to give you some encouragement. I want you all to begin to continue to have hope and not believe that, let's stop saying some of these things that are really just not true. For instance, there just aren't any good men. Let's throw them away. Let's get the new batch because these guys out here are not what we are looking for. But could it be that this is the season that God is trying to pull something out of you so that you can begin to see love and relationships from a different perspective? All right, so here we go. One of the things that I was thinking about as I was listening to some of the comments and the feedback from part one of this episode is the fact that independent women, just asking people, what do you think about? What are the words that come to mind? And I've even asked some men just to get some feedback from them. Hey, when you say an independent woman, what does that mean to you? What do you think of when they say that? Can I tell you the truth? And this is even in the body of Christ. These are the words that they use. She's fierce. She's savage. She's direct. She's blunt. She's aggressive. Let me tell you something. Even to the point of that people can even identify sometimes the behaviors that an independent woman has, right? You walk into the room. We're thinking sometimes that we're walking into the room to command the audience, right? But here's the words that they use. She's frowning a lot. She looks like she's not approachable. She comes in and she takes over. She does a lot of neck popping. Oh my God, El Renee, did you go there? I said it. Yes, I did. Because again, sometimes we have to understand words carry a spirit. That's why it's so important for us. And we try to not do this to our children, right? We try to empower our children and affirm them. And again, life and death lies in the power of the tongue. So think about what we're saying when we're saying that you're fierce, Right now, of course, we love it. We wear it on t-shirts and we say, I'm fine and fierce this year. I'm fierce and fabulous and all of those things. But what I'm saying is that sometimes we have to be very, very careful that we don't allow the spirit of someone who is savage and aggressive, blunt, right? Unapproachable. That's not really what a lot of times independent women are trying to portray. Let's go there. A lot of times we're busy. We're thinking, we're thinking ahead, we're trying to plan, we're trying to adjust, we're trying to balance, right? But our body language sometimes betrays what we're really trying to be about. And I think it's because sometimes we succumb. Let's be honest. I believe sometimes we succumb to living out these terms that really don't describe who we truly are. And I only wanted to remind you of this. When you are in a relationship and you fall in love, that person is going to fall in love with who you are. Come on here tonight, El Renee. They are going to fall in love with who you are, not who you are in the corporate boardroom, not who you are in church, not who you are in the hierarchy of your family. They love you, the woman. And that's what I want to encourage on tonight. I am not in any way saying for us to lay down and become doormats. I'm not telling us to settle. I'm not telling us to just make ourselves small. I had a coaching group a couple of weeks ago, and something that God was showing me. And we start again, words carry power. Words carry power. And I know that a lot of times, again, talking to men and women who are single and looking for relationships. And these are the things that they share with me as a relationship coach. They say things like, I don't want someone who is high maintenance. Come on, y'all. Let's think about that. Let's break that thing down. I even shared this with my coaching group the other week. We have to be very careful, though, because sometimes there is a subconscious level that we are operating on by hearing the word, oh, I don't want to be high maintenance. And so what that does is subconsciously you begin to start acting low maintenance. But think about what that means when you are because here's the thing, you've got to show people how to treat you. You've got to begin to teach people how to treat you. But teaching them does not mean you're yelling at them. It doesn't mean you're berating them. It doesn't mean you have to lecture them. It simply means that you show them, you demonstrate how you expect to be treated. You communicate how you expect to be treated. That's not the same thing as being demanding. That was another word that they said. Independent women are too demanding. And what that says to me, what we hear sometimes when we hear the word too demanding, you get offended because it's you think of it as saying that you're trying to make a person do certain things. But could it be is that your list of all of your needs and wants are so much greater than what maybe even you are willing to offer when it comes to your turn? Oh, come on here. If I knew that, there were some relationships, if we're going to be honest tonight, that I was in that I had a long laundry list of things that I expected and demanded that this particular person be to me. But I had never stopped to consider, am I offering just as much? Do I expect these same things out of me? Am I offering these same kinds of things in my relationship with God? Oh my God. Because God is not a God that is not of order. God is a God of order. He is a God of balance. And his expectations, so as it is on earth, it's in heaven. That means the reflection of who he is should be reflected in every area of our lives. So if you have respect on the job, you have respect in the church, you have respect in your home, but you're in a relationship and there's not respect, a give and take, a mutual side of respect, that's out of order. And sometimes, let's go there, independent women, we don't like to be corrected. Yes, ma'am, I said it. Because even as I move into This is our second year being married. I just got married, so I'm still kind of like in that honeymoon phase. I am beginning to still understand that there's still so much more that I have to learn, not about being independent. My husband knew that when we got married. He knew that when we were dating. But here is the thing. Now I'm beginning to ask God, Lord, show me. Oh, this is for the married too. Hear me. Show me when I need to exert my independence and when my independence, it is what it is. And I can stand back, stand firm on what you told me and who I have selected to be the lead and the head of my home. Oh! My God, my God. Don't make me get the microphone tonight, y'all. This is what it's all about. Sometimes it is us. And if you really have been asking, you're searching, you're confused, you're complaining about your relationship, all I'm saying to you is that before you go to your partner and tell them what you want, what you need, what you expect, what you demand, what you're not going to put up with, what you're going to leave for, what's your deal breakers, before you go, I'm only asking you to consider, have you checked yourself first? Now, you might say, well, El Renee, listen, I was raised to be a strong woman. I was raised to be savage. I was raised to be aggressive. I was raised to be direct. I don't see anything wrong with that. I wouldn't be where I am today if I was not those things. And I agree with you. I am only simply submitting to you, my love, that there is a time and a place and a season for those characteristics. And I don't know anyone that has been married for a long time in a healthy marriage. I don't know any of them that describe these characteristics as what has helped them stay in a healthy marriage. Yeah. Yeah, I don't hear women say, oh, the reason why we've been married 40 years is because I'm fierce and savage and aggressive. You don't hear anybody saying that. What they talk about over and over and over again is that they may have started out independent. They may have started out one way. Because after all, guess what? Marriage is about merging into one, right? It's supposed to be two flesh becoming one. That's where we are missing the mark. When you are so independent, and I'm going to come for y'all codependent women in a little bit, but let's talk about the independent woman who right now you might say, well, El Renee, I just don't think you understand. Listen, I have to do it all. I was there. Trust me. 2 years ago, that was me. Trust me when I say that. Right? I had to be the mother and the father. I had to be the breadwinner. I had to be the decision maker. Right? I had to be the event planner. I had to be the maintenance man. I had to do all of those things. Or I had to find and be in charge of finding someone who could help me take care of those particular things. And so when you move over into a relationship, please hear me when I say this. This is where we have got to begin to learn. And this is where we really have to submit our plans, our thoughts, our expectations about what we think love should be based upon what it is. What is it right now? I know what that feels like when you're trying to figure out how you're going to make ends meet. Summer is about here, and you're trying to figure out how you're going to take care of the bills, who's going to watch the kids. You got ailing parents, all these things. But here's the thing, when God blesses you with someone who makes those vows to say, I'm going to cherish you and I'm going to love you. I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to be here whether you're sick or well. I'm going to be here if we lose money or whether or not we are on top of the world with finances. The point is, are we going to be here together? Are you going to be able to be who you need to be when you need to be it? Now, I want to submit something to you as well. I hope you all are right out there. Again, welcome, welcome, welcome to Single and Saved TV. This is your girl, Coach El Renee Nix. Tonight, we're talking about Miss Independent Part 2. We're talking about ways that independent women sometimes lose the sight of balance in relationships, not because they're bad people, not because they just don't care, and not because they don't believe in God or anything of that nature. But sometimes we've got to be careful about the words that are spoken, the roles that sometimes people, the qualities and characteristics that people want to assign to us. Oh, she's fat, foul, she's savage. she's fierce. She takes no prisoners. She don't play with anybody. All right. You've got to be careful about that, because sometimes you can be in that situation for so long that when you do meet someone and this person is serious about you and they're ready to move to the next level, you're still stuck in that role. The whole point of the prayers, the whole point of watching shows like this, the whole point of going to singles ministries and conferences and reading the books and being on dating apps and all, the whole point of that is because you do desire to have someone in your life. I am only here to remind you that it is possible. But in order for it to be healthy, you've got to begin to think about some things that will change when you move into relationships. All right, so here it is, right? You need to understand, how do I take some of those qualities and translate them over into a healthy relationship? I want you to think about these things first, right? Again, I think about my own dating life. I think about the clients that God has given me an opportunity to work with, and a lot of independent, high profile women of purpose, women who are on the move, and they're making moves in the world. They're doing amazing things. But these are some of the things that, after I've talked to male clients, I've studied this, I've done research on this. These are some of the things that they say that independent women they're not always aware, right, of themselves. And here's the first one. One, could it be because sometimes you may think that you're better than the other person? Now, y'all hear me. All right. It's okay. You can say ouch on the toes, but hear what I'm saying. Really let me break this down for you. I was addicted, and I was always attracted for such a long time to the bad boy. Oh, we going there tonight, El Renee. Let's go there. Let's go there. I loved a bad boy. It was something about, the guys that had the swag, and, they had that rough edge to them. And, they lived, so they seemed such an exciting, thrilling, dangerous kind of life. Now, I'm not talking about the criminals. I ain't talking about the real criminals, y'all. I'm talking more so just about that image is what I'm saying. I created that image in my head that, I loved an intelligent, smart, thuggish kind of dude, though. His presence was like, I'm a man. I love that. I loved it for such a long time. And my husband and I, we joke about it. I love the guy that had the whole, what I thought was the Rick Ross, type of demeanor. Like, yeah, that's the kind of dude. I want somebody that, here we go. Let's go there. Let's go there. Let's break it down to what I was really attracted to. It was something about what I thought the bad boy could provide for me. Let's go there now. I thought that a bad boy could provide protection. Everybody, I don't care how independent you are, you want a man that's going to protect you. Come on now. I thought that there was a certain a thuggish kind of, bad boy. I like the fact that they were not shy about their attention toward me. I like the attention. I like that they were, someone that would make me feel protected and safe. Let's go there. Now, here is the thing that sometimes independent women, because here's the thing. Here's what we do. Now, let's go there, y'all. Here's what we do. What we have heard, what we have been taught, what we have been trained and programmed to believe is that, yes, you want a man who is going to protect you and make you feel safe and secure. That's what we want. But a lot of times we do not consider the other side of who that person is. Am I saying bad boys are bad and not a good mate? No, not at all. I am so thankful that God sent me a man that was a former bad boy. I'm glad that my husband makes me feel safe and protected. And I know that if something goes down, I can trust that he's going to make sure I'm safe. Nothing wrong with that. But here's what God showed me. But did you consider the other things that come with the bad boy? Let me give you an example. Young lady I was working with, private client I was working with, and she was sharing with me that she was a businesswoman. She had a very good job within the government, and she also had a side business that was doing very, very well. She was in the hospitality business and she was doing very, very well. And she had been through a really bad divorce. She was a single mom, Miss Independent. She was holding it down. She had purchased a home. And she was waiting. One son was about to go off to college, and she still had one other son still at home, and they were doing well. She travels, and they will still do things. The kids were in all kinds of activities, just doing what all good independent women are going to do. They're going to make it work. They're going to do what has to be done. All right. So she had tried so many different, relationships after the divorce. And basically she said, I was tired of men saying to me, that I don't feel like I have any place. And I feel like, I'm not good enough for you. I feel like, I can't, you're too good for me. And that, your standards are so high. Your expectations are so high. Lo and behold, she begins to date this guy. Here we go, right? She dates this guy who is a typical bad boy, right? When she meets him, he's assertive. He's not afraid to talk to her. He's not afraid to have a conversation with her. He makes her feel pretty. He compliments her and tells her how beautiful she is. And, the good morning, beautiful text, that whole routine. But here is the thing. She had never considered the other things that would go with him, that goes along with who he is and where he has been. She had a lot of education. She had degrees, more degrees than a thermometer. He had only had a high school diploma. Now, here we go. Secretly, she discovered that she was very resentful. And there was a part of her that did look down on him because he didn't always dot every I and cross every T. She didn't feel comfortable taking him to all of the places that she was used to going and being around with her supposed intellectual friends. But here's the thing. The thing that I had to point out to her is this, my dear. He was always who he told you he was. Oh, El Renee. Yes, ma'am. We're going to go there. We've got to get free. We've got to begin to see the truth about some of the things that we are living by. Right? We're looking on social media and we're trying to compare who somebody else has to who we think we're supposed to have. But the truth of the matter is this person was always upfront about who he was and where he had come from. But here's the thing. And she says, well, and I asked her, I said, well, what made you even want to be in a relationship with him? Why would you pursue or allow this person to continue to pursue you once you found out about their past and where they had been and where they were going and, just started to see that you guys really, really were from two different backgrounds? Here's what she said. She said, I thought that him being around me would help him become better. I thought that being around me, that I would be able to change him, that I would be able to show him a better way of living. Listen to that. It is important that you do not become a recruiter. All right? You're not at your job trying to hire someone who's going to fit into the corporate theme. That's not what relationships are about. You don't have to be cookie cutter people. You don't have to be the same. You don't have to, both go to the same college. You don't have to have the same backgrounds. You can be unequally yoked and both of you be educated. You can be unequally yoked and you both come from two-parent homes. You can be unequally yoked and y'all both go to church. Y'all are both in ministry and you still could be unequally yoked. But we have been taught that the bar should be set so high, and it should. But it should be set high with an understanding that this person is someone who has the capacity and the space to rise to that occasion. If this person has always shown you that they were irresponsible, then it's on you to make a decision. We've got to stop trying to be a trainer, a recruiter, a mentor to our men. I need a whole show with the men. I need a show, maybe for Father's Day. I need to get some men on here because I need for you guys to really, really hear some of the experiences that I have the opportunity to hear, because it just makes so much sense. Because again, if you are a fixer at work, that means you have the skills to be able to problem solve. You have the skills to be able to look at situations from different perspectives, and you're looking for solutions. I'm a very detailed, solution-oriented person. But one of the main lessons that I had to learn, and I'm still learning, is that my husband is not a project. Come on here, El Renee, tonight. My husband is not a project. My husband is my partner. So any change that I need to take place, I am here to support him in the changes that he is making. I am not here to demand his change. I am not here to navigate his change. I am not here to manipulate his change. I am here to undergird and support the changes that God shows him that he needs to make. Well, El Renee, the guy, he's not really on my spiritual level. We're not on the same level. Well, then here we go again. That was a decision and a choice that you made. My church mother told me, even before I even met my husband, she said, listen, God honors marriage. And he does. He does not mandate that you have to be saved in order to be married. He honors the vows that you make and commit before him, whether you are a believer or not. So just because he's not a believer, he still honors the vows that you made before him. But the Bible that I read says that the unbelieving husband is saved by the sanctified wife. Not the recruiting wife, not the manipulating wife, not the demanding wife, not the fierce wife, not the cunning wife, not the lying wife, not the hypocritical wife. It says by the sanctified and believing wife. My job is to believe God for the things that he is seeking God for. And I was guilty of it. Can I go there? I was guilty. I was trying to create situations in past relationships where I thought that the things that I liked about them were some of the same things that I started to despise. I wanted somebody who was from the hood, but then I started getting upset about their hood ways. That wasn't on them. That was on me. Because when people show you who they are, I have a choice and a decision to decide, not fall. Because we say, well, I just fell in love and I couldn't help it. That's not true. That's not true. That is not true. The heart does want what it wants, but you still have a decision to make. All right, y'all all right out there with me? Let's keep going. The other thing is this. You look at relationships like an acquisition. Like it's just one more achievement for you to have. I hope I'm helping somebody tonight. We've got to begin to examine our own perceptions and our own ideologies about why we want to be in a relationship. What are we looking for? Do you want a companionship? And I don't mean just saying it out of your mouth, but do you understand what a companion is? A companion does not complete you. A companion comes in to be an assistant, to partner with whatever you have going on. But here's the thing, companionship is a two-way street. I was guilty of wanting to insert someone into my life like an acquisition. Like I'm going out to purchase shoes, like I'm going to purchase a home, or I'm going to purchase a car. If your mindset is to just find someone to check off the boxes on your list, then I'm telling you right now, that is a disaster waiting to happen, because what you're looking for is a takeover. Come on here, El Renee, tonight. You're looking for a takeover in relationships. You just want to come into somebody's life and make their life better by the things that you demand it to be. But here's the thing. We are looking for, I hope that we're looking for relationships where we begin to merge. I take the greatness that I have, you take the greatness that you have, and we merge that together. I take the insight and experiences that I have, you take the insight and the experiences that you have. And it's not my way, it's not your way, but it's the way that we create together. And let's be honest, if you're an independent woman, a woman of purpose, when you are in control on your job, when you're in control at the house, when you're in control in the family, guess what? You don't have anybody to consult. You don't have to be a companion to anyone at home. You don't have to be a companion at work. What you say goes. But we have to remember your relationship is not an acquisition. It's not something that you're just trying to go through cut and dry. And if they fit all the list, the checklist, then you just add them and stir into your life. That's not what you're looking for. A merger is where both entities benefit. And a lot of times, independent women, let's go there, we're only looking at how we will benefit from that person being in our lives. And we should. But all I'm simply saying is that God had to show me, listen, even my relationship with God, he had to be like, listen, this is not one-sided. That's why we offer not only real and relevant, but responsible solutions. I want you to understand that being in love, falling in love, or no, well, I don't believe in falling in love anymore, but here we go. Finding love, finding a lasting, healthy relationship, asking God to put you in the right place to meet someone who you can build something with. That is responsibility. That's responsibility. But what I find sometimes is that independent women are so exhausted and so eager from all of the other roles that they have to play. So then when they get into a relationship, guess what? Now you want to be lazy. Now you just want to sit back and say, I don't care what you do. Just, long as I can say I got somebody. Now you're on the other end of becoming a doormat. And it's possible. It happens all the time. I'm amazed at how sometimes it is those high-performing women. Those are the ones that are looking amazing. Look at it. It's all on TV. These celebrities, these actresses, these singers and entertainers, these women that have plenty of money, plenty of fame, plenty of power. And when you go back and look, a lot of times in their relationships, they're failed. They've had marriage after marriage after marriage fall apart. I am convinced it's because they have never learned how to begin to switch the roles, or that some kind of way the perception of what love is supposed to offer, even with money, even with power, even with leadership, even with a title. They did not consider that this should be a merger and not an acquisition. All right, here's the other thing that they shared with me that really just, some of these things really showed me that, listen, you want a partner. You're not auditioning for an assistant. Come on here. Come on here. Come on here, y'all. We got to start to look at what we are looking for. I started this season on Single and Saved TV asking you, are you ready for love? And how do you know you're ready for love? How do you know? Not because you're lonely, not because you're tired, not because you want someone to make up for your past. Those are not reasons to be ready for love. But you're looking for a partner, someone who has agreed to be on the team and that everyone understands their role on the team. And sometimes we're guilty of being with people who we know will be an assistant. Wash my car, do this and do that, take care of this and show up and be all of these things. And sometimes we don't think about what am I bringing to the table? And I'm not talking about tangible things. Men are just like we are. Single men are just like single women. They are tired too. They are looking for a quality woman too. They want someone that they can build with too. They want someone that they can depend on too. They want someone who, although has all these tangible things, that's not crazy. They don't want anyone who's not healed. Someone who's not aware of what they're going through. Someone themselves who knows how to make space and room. And the big debate, here we go. The big debate about independent women is for us to learn, or for us to show men how they have a place in our lives. And that is not weakness. Can I submit that to you? It is not weakness to be vulnerable in front of the right person for you. It is not weakness. It is not weakness. I don't care what your family lineage says. I don't care what society says. I don't care what any of those things say. I believe that God created us for one another. And in that context, I believe that it is not weak to be vulnerable. It's not weak to be the feminine person that God created me to be in the presence of someone who has committed to being my partner. But what happens is we become vulnerable in front of people who have not committed to us. We become vulnerable in front of people who have never had our best interests. We become vulnerable in front of people who don't have the space and the capacity to be those things for us. One of my favorite scriptures is that I come that you might have life. You may have life, but we have got to wonder, are we overcompensating? Are we high yielding in these other areas because we're overcompensating? Because when we get into relationships, we don't understand or we forget how to do give and take. You're not looking for an assistant. You are looking for a partner. All right. Now, I might have broke you down a little bit in some of those things. So let me build you back up because I want you to understand how important it is. I want you to take these notes if you're taking notes and to understand that independent women, we always have room to improve. We're always looking for ways to improve. Here are some ways that you can improve in your relationships. Number one, avoid absolutes. Always, never. We got to stay away from words like that. I always meet men that words carry spirits and they carry power. You can say, yes, I've met some men in the past who were blah, 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 blah. But when you continue to say, right, always and never. And the reason why sometimes we use those absolute words are because high yielding, high performing women, we are competitive. We are driven. We want achievements. We want results. Right? And so a lot of times when we are evaluated in our careers or evaluated in other areas of our lives, right, there are those absolutes. Either you've got the promotion or you didn't. Right? Even you were elevated in your church or you weren't, right? There's so many absolutes in our secular world. But all I'm saying to you is that in relationships, you cannot have absolutes. Never say never. I learned that a long time ago. Never say what you will or won't do in a relationship. You don't know until you're faced with it. I am sure that there's so many women that have been in marriages and relationships that did not succeed, and they did things that I know that they probably were like, who is this person? I never thought I would do that. Be careful. Avoid absolutes, right? Here's the other thing, right? I want you to begin to look at practicing to switch roles. Don't wait until you meet somebody. And now the person, like the young lady last week, the guy says, hey, I want to cook dinner for you. All I want you to do is to come and sit down. You don't have to do anything. But let me be very, very careful about this. You have been asking God. You've been praying, Lord, send me someone. I'm ready. But this is the thing. While you're waiting, and this is something I even read this morning as I was doing my devotion, and it just really, really hit me. Patience is not just simply waiting. Patience is how you respond while you're waiting. I am a proponent of Christians practicing to date. I didn't say practicing to sin. I didn't say practicing to have sex. I said practicing the art of dating. Because if you were like me, you were PK, you grew up in church your entire life, your mom was the church secretary, your dad was the head deacon, you most likely did not always know how to date. There wasn't a lot of privilege to date. There wasn't a lot of freedom to date, especially in the way they date now. So my point being, if you were like me, you probably really don't know how to date, which is why you have to begin to practice. Not giving your all to one person and they have not proven themselves to you. But what I'm saying is it's so important for you to begin to practice. Now, learning how to give up control, learning how to compromise, learning how to not try to manipulate people into doing what you want them to do, learning not having your way all the time, learning to be okay with hearing and listening and experiencing something new. It does not always have to be you on the seat of teaching the man everything he needs to know. That's why you're tired, because it's another acquisition. You're acquiring another child. You're not getting a grown man. You're trying to be somebody's mama. Oh, come on, El Renee. I know y'all gonna add me with that one, but it's okay because I want people to understand that. And here is the thing, right? You must ask God to remove any expectations that is based upon old relationships. That was a big one. That was a big one for me. I found myself having, after bad breakups, after the heartbreak that I talk about in my book, I was, of course, building up expectations about the next person in my life. But it was based upon an old, dead, dry relationship that should have never been. And that's so unfair to someone. It's like they're not even having a chance to even get to know you. You're not giving them a chance to show you what they can do and what they can offer you because you're ready to cut them down at a moment's notice because you've already built up this mistrust. You've already built up this wall. You've already built up this understanding that the person has no idea about. You've already built up expectation that the person has no idea about. And that's so unfair. It's so unfair. It's unfair to you. I mean, I'm not talking about the other person. It's unfair to the man as well. But let's go there. It's unfair to you. You have not given yourself enough time, enough space, enough consistency in your own healing, in your own walk with God and with yourself, in fulfilling self. You have not given yourself enough grace so that God can really give you and take away the anxiousness, the eagerness about Lord when, Lord who, Lord why. That was me. That was me. I spent so much time asking God so many questions because I was anxious. I was ready. I was like, I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready. But at the end of the day, guess what? There were so many independent things about me that I'm even still learning. I'm being honest, y'all. There's still things about me and my independency that I have to learn that does not translate into a healthy marriage. It doesn't. And it doesn't make me weak. It doesn't make me a pushover. It doesn't make me lazy. It doesn't make him bad either for wanting to be the man in my life. It doesn't make him bad for that. After all, that's what I was praying for. That's all I wanted you all to understand tonight. I pray that this helps you. This is, again, I'm so thankful for the opportunity to continue to have these conversations 1 week at a time so that, we can begin to see and examine our own thoughts, our own perceptions, our own understandings, our own experiences. Let's go there. There were so many things that I experienced through other people's relationships, watching other people, listening to other people, that I had not stopped to really consider what it is that God was showing me about my own relationship. What was he showing me about me? He was trying to show me me. He wanted me to have a healthy view of who I was becoming. Not who I was in the past, but who I am right now. He was showing me, trying to get you to a better place within your own mind, within your own heart. And when I began to do that, guess what? There were so many changes in my life that I just began to be like, you know what? I appreciate you, God, for that. I'm glad. It was good that I was afflicted. I can say that now. But going through it, of course, no, I didn't feel that way. But I'm so thankful that he had grace for me. He had mercy for me. He had lessons for me. He had patience for me. That's what I pray for you tonight. I pray that you don't allow society, your own thought, your own independence, your own pride, your own ego. I pray that you don't allow those things, to hold you back from having the kind of relationship, the positive relationships that God wants you to have. He's preparing you for something bigger. Do you believe it? I believe it too. All right, listen, I'm going to get on off of here. Listen, episode 6 is coming. You don't want to miss it. Listen, I have something called the Ladies Room. It's something that we've been doing for quite a while on Single and Saving the Kingdom, the series on Facebook. But listen, I'm so excited to bring the Ladies Room here to Single and Save TV. I have what I call the attendance. Yes, listen, you've been to a fancy restaurant. Ever been to a fancy restaurant where you go into the restroom and they have an attendant there? They have their mouthwash and the mints. They've got towels. They've got, anything that you need to just kind of freshen yourself up. The ladies' room is where we come to dish all things love and relationships, but we also talk about the latest trends in love and relationships. We talk about real life things. We talk about how to just encourage one another through the things that we're going through. And I have not only one, but two of my attendants. We have my good friend, Cena the Diva. She will be here with us on next week, as well as my one and only blood sister, Andrea Briscoe. I am so excited. This is going to be the Mother's Day tribute. Listen, guys, you don't want to miss this. I want you to tag your moms, your sisters, your girlfriends, your besties. We are shouting out to all the amazing women who mother us, your spiritual mothers, your first ladies. We want everyone to tune in to the Mother's Day tribute next week. It's going to be amazing. You don't want to miss it. I'm telling you, the attendance when we get together, if y'all think I'm a mess, y'all wait till the girls get here. It's going to be amazing. We want to shout out to all the amazing people who support Single and Saved TV. And again, we thank God for this opportunity, and we are so thankful to be here. We are growing. We're getting bigger and better, and I don't want you to miss it. Listen, you might say, well, El Renee, I enjoyed this show tonight, and I really want to have an opportunity to connect with you in another way. I want you. I love the feedback. I love the information that you guys share with me from week to week. And I want you guys to begin to connect with us here. All right. You can reach out to me always on my website. You might say, well, El Renee, listen, I want to work with you. I want to work with you on your individual coaching program. I want to work with you in your group coaching, or I just want to connect with you. I just want to let you know that I am enjoying Single and Saved TV. This is how you can reach out to us on theelreneeway.com. That's my website. You can email me, as always, on theelreneega at Gmail. You can always email me from there. And listen, if you want to be a blessing, you say, listen, this blessed me tonight, and I want to sow a seed on the things that God is doing with me, even as being a Miss Independent. You can always send a Cash App as a donation. We're doing big things here on Single and Saved TV. I don't want you to miss out on it. I want you to continue to pray that God continues to give us not only the ideas of what to do, but we are praying that He continues to give us the resources as well. Listen, I'm excited because you don't want to miss next week. There are some big things that are coming up. I will be in the Dublin area this Saturday. If you are from my hometown, my mom's hometown, in Dublin, I will be there this Saturday. We are going on the road. We'll be participating in their young adult conference. I'm so excited for that particular opportunity. And I'm excited about what this is all going to be about, right? So listen, we're going to get off of here. I'm going to pray, and then we're going to be done. Thank you, God, for another opportunity to talk to these amazing people, God. Continue to pray for them. Show us ourselves, God. Help us. Give us the strength. Give us the wisdom. Give us the opportunities that we need in order for us to be who you have called us to be. Lord, we thank you, oh God, that we even have sweet rest on tonight. And we thank you until we meet again. All right. Good night. Blessings to each of you all. I'll see you next week. Don't forget the ladies' room. You don't want to miss it. All right. This is your girl, El Renee. Grace and peace to you.